get on here. I know you're watching, but I'll add viewers to be in the broadcast. Let's go ahead and do that. You're invited already. Again, technical difficulties. Joey, I invited you to be in the broadcast. Somewhere on your screen, you're going to have that invitation. Try to make sure that you get on there, okay? And I do have the option on my computer to see the comments, so. Hi, Shannon. Hey, there you are, Joey. You got to get up here. So I invited you to be in there. So let me know. There he is. Oh, yeah. Yes. I think I'm going to see him up here somewhere. Come on board there, Joey. You should be able to see it now. Thanks for hanging in there, guys. Hey, Jennifer. Joey, you should have been invited, and you should show up somewhere up here. I don't know what's going on with your phone, but you should end up here. Let me know if you're having technical difficulties. Hey, everybody. Thanks for coming on board. We're just trying to get the technical issues worked out here, where we can get Joey on board up here somewhere so we can see him. I'm going to, I guess I should plug in my, there we go. I plugged into my phone here now. So Joey, are you there? Approve. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I'm approving you, Joey, to be on camera. All you have to do is accept. Okay, try again. Hey, hon. It's my husband watching too, so. Okay, so I approved the invite, Joey, so you should show up somewhere up here. So thanks for hanging in, everybody. Just hang in there because this is going to be amazing once I get them on board here. Do you see any invite, Joey? Let me know if you see any invite, okay? I did invite you, and I did see that you were approved. So approve. They'll receive an invite to join your broadcast. Add. You got to put your camera on and your mic on, okay? Hey, Susan. We're waiting for the guest of honor to show up here. He's been invited, but we're having some technical issues. His face is up there somewhere. Let me know, Joey, okay? No invite still? Okay, so all viewers to send you I'm reading right up here to join your broadcast. You can add them at any point. I'm approving you now. Did you get that? Come on, Joey. Come on. Come on. Let's get this going. Oh, you gotta love technology, right? I'm trying to get the guest of honor on here. I'm going to try this again. You have to come on as a viewer, Joey. So if you've left and come back on here, I'll approve you again. I've added you. I'm adding, so maybe we'll get you on there. Come on, I'm adding you. Let's go.
Whoa,
Hey! Hey, can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, turn up your volume a bit there. You're a little low there, but that's great. Yay! Woohoo! Gotta love technology, right? Thanks, everybody, for hanging in there with me. So this is, I tried it from my computer first, but it's not, it didn't allow me to invite guests. So I guess you can only do that on mobile right now, but I wasn't about to fool around with that. So
you kept sending an invite, and it took forever to get it. The invite, it just didn't come.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. Hey, Marianne, how are you? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and keep up with the comments, but we're going to keep the questions to the last, to the end, because I know if you have questions for Joey, there'll be Q&A at the end. So first of all, thanks everybody for coming on board. My name is Trish Carparata. I live in Barrie, Ontario, Canada. I am a breast cancer survivor. I'm on a health and wellness journey, and I'm your health and wellness advocate. What I do is I come on board here 3 times a week to tell you about things you should need to know about your diet and things you're eating in the environment to get you back on track again. I offer you supplements and weight loss products and all kinds of things like that. However, I always bring on guests of honor like this, someone who's got another perspective that I don't have that I know will help everybody out there. So this is my third interview now of someone else outside of what I normally do. And I met this guy, Joey, when I did Rini Anderson's live video. She was amazing. And she said, "You think my story's great? She talked to this guy." So I was like, okay, I'm on it. So right after that, we got talking about it. So he's got an amazing story. And he really has conquered and kind of defied the odds about being fit in his 20s to being obese to getting back to fit in his 50s. Now, I'm in my 50s too, so I can relate 100%. So he's on his journey to get back to where he was in his 20s, and he's got an amazing, amazing story. So first of all, welcome aboard, Joey. Welcome aboard. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for doing this with me. And first of all, let's get you talking about what is your age and where are you coming in from?
I'm 51 now.
Okay, and where do you live? Like, where are you coming in from right now?
Oh, I'm sorry. Right now I'm in Tampa.
Tampa? Okay, and whereabouts in... and how long have you been in Tampa for?
40 years.
40 years, okay, that's good. You got a lot of history there. Is this where you started your journey? Or was it...
Oh, yeah, everything, yeah. From bodybuilding to getting heavy, back to bodybuilding, yeah.
Okay.
My whole life is here. Wow. My whole life is here.
Oh, that's excellent. Hey, Jill. So if I don't catch the comments, don't worry about it. I'm trying to... What's that?
Oh, Denise Baxter. She's never seen me like this. She's always coming to my music shows, and she's always seen me fat.
So I said Dennis because I saw a picture of a guy there, so I didn't know if it was Denise or not. So my apologies if it's Denise. But yeah, so the comments that came in when I said I was going to do the interview were people who haven't seen you for a while. So this is really cool. And I totally appreciate you taking your time to talk. So let's get started here. So the first question I got for you is, now when we had our conversations, you had told me that you were a power lifter. Now, I've posted some pictures of Joey before this interview that showed a picture of him, and you can tell he's got long hair, and he's got a kind of a shirt on there, but he was a power lifter. I don't know anything about powerlifting, but I know the shape he was in. So tell us a bit about what was going on in your life at that period of time that made you decide to be a power lifter, because you had some interesting scenarios about why you chose to do that. So let's start there.
Well, when I was playing guitar and I realized I was getting kind of heavy back when I was a kid, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So I put down the guitar, and my friend said, "You got to come start lifting weights." And so I hit my friend Tim. I started lifting weights with him, and he went to start a family. So I'm like in the gym by myself, and I'm like, well, I'm not, going to give this up, because I started getting in shape. And then, in a couple of years, I just actually passed pretty much everybody in bodybuilding and powerlifting, because I became shredded. And this was in the early 90s. Nobody could get that lean before. It was, you were 8% or above. And I got probably to 5. Easily. And
you're talking about body fat, right? 8% or 5% body fat?
Yeah.
Hey, Megan.
It was rare for bodybuilders to get under maybe 8% back then. Rare. So, but I wasn't a bodybuilder. I was a power lifter. So
right. And what's the difference between a bodybuilder and a power lifter? What's the difference between that?
Bodybuilders, they focus on, they do more reps, where a power lifter focuses on the calories and the strength. You have to be strong in every area, or else you're a bodybuilder. You're not a power lifter.
Okay, interesting, because I didn't know that either, for sure. Yeah,
it's two different sports.
Okay, cool. Now, you also mentioned that that you were a bit obsessed about your lifestyle back then, because in our conversations I picked up a little bit, so I wrote down some things. And you said you're really obsessed with your lifestyle, and that you tended to look at other people that weren't doing what you were doing, and it disturbed you. So I know from extreme lifestyles that can actually happen. So tell me about a little bit about how that affected you as a person, and maybe your relationships with other people as well.
That's an awesome question. this is crazy. When I was in my mid-20s, I was in absolutely perfect physical condition. I was afraid to date women because I didn't want to mess up my routine. That was priority, and I didn't. Honestly, I think for 2 years, I didn't. I just ate my food, went to sleep, and went to the gym, and that's all I did for 2 years. And then and that's how that started. But, yeah, I can barely see him because it's on my phone.
It's okay, don't worry about it.
But the food part was really just as interesting. I was obsessed with the food I was eating because I knew that if I just ate something wrong, like a piece of pie or something, it would actually affect my strength. One time, I remember drinking a cup of coffee when my dad was still alive, so it was probably 94, 95, and I actually could see it getting stored in my body fat. That's how ripped I was. Wow. You'll never hear anything like that unless you hear from me. I could see a cup of coffee getting stored. That's how lean I was.
I'm sure you could feel all that too. And that's part of being in a lifestyle. And a lot of athletes feel the same way. They get obsessed with their lifestyle and they tend to separate themselves from a normal society, right? Now, you have a very interesting... Yeah, you have a very interesting story as to how that changed for you.
Yeah, I remember telling you about if I seen somebody drinking Gatorade or just something like a normal person, even a normal athlete, that would have made me nauseous. It would have just I would have thought it was a weak. Like that's how it was back then. It was hardcore.
Well, I think there's a lot to do with that now too. So when we're on, say, a diet or we change our lifestyle to the extreme because we want to do that. I think we get into that too. So listen to what Joey's saying because there's points in there that actually fit into our lifestyle now. That no matter what you choose to do in your lifestyle journey, just don't get obsessed with it enough that you separate yourself from. Or unless you're going for the Olympics, then you know what, knock yourself out. But at one point, you have to realize that it actually fits into that, right?
Yeah, there was I actually tell people the Olympics would have had to have been here for me to participate in them because in my mind back then, if I did some kind of competition or a fight or anything, I would have had to flown somewhere. In my mind, that would have made me weaker. That's how obsessive to get where I was a psychopath because. You had to. It had to have been here, because if I would have got on a plane, I would have missed my meals and missed my sleep, and you can't do that in powerlifting. Without any other sport, maybe, but not in powerlifting. You can't do that.
That could be other athletes too. I know when athletes. I'm a big hockey fan, so I know when these guys travel, and when they travel, they're out of their routine, and they tend to. You can see in their performance that they tend to falter until they find their pace again in their new environment. So I can totally get where that's coming from for sure. So, and I know there was a turning point. You and I talked about this in regards to your lifestyle choices when you met your wife. So tell me, like you were completely obsessed and you said, I didn't want to get involved in anyway because I didn't want to stop what I was doing or I didn't want to interrupt that. So there was a turning point in your life. So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, my dad passed away in 1995 and I think I met her 2 months later. Like, I think he passed away in October. I met her 2 months later, and it was messing with my head that my dad passed away. I was already in perfect physical condition. So and this is the early 90s. So what do you do after that? I'm only 27 years old. I didn't know what to do. So, and then I met my wife, and we went to Chinese food, and it was all downhill.
But you know what, that's reality. So the reality is that we do that today too. If we're on a diet or whatever, and then we go out with friends, it's the same kind of thing. There's a temptation there that tends to draw us away from what our focus is. And then we tend to leave it behind and then we come back later. I think that's very typical and but how long was it that you left that? Because the pictures that I posted showed you in a very, very bad state. I think you were actually in a walker, right? So tell us about at that point. How heavy were you at that? What age were you at that part where we can see you in the walker and sitting down?
Well, right before that, I had already made a conscious decision to leave the sport and gain weight because I wanted to better understand the human body. So it was more like a science experiment than just me giving up. No, I made a conscious decision thinking that at some point in my life, I could pull off 50 to 75 pounds. I had no problem. And I just got caught up in life. You know, I had all the emotions of getting
You froze there, Joey.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, all the emotions of
getting heavy. Everything was there, like the physical things, like the back, the feet, the knees, being tired all the time. I mean, this was part of the experiment. Like, is it possible to take it as far as you can, no matter how old it is, and then turn around and come back? Can it be done?
Right.
At this age, not at 30, not gaining 50 pounds. You know what I'm saying? No, at 50, I'm 51 now. And
You're right.
And I'm passing a lot. I actually put myself in the category with bodybuilders 2 years from being obese.
Wow.
That's great. Yeah, that's crazy.
And you told me you were 400 pounds at your worst point, right?
Yes, just almost 400 pounds in a walker in my late 30s, early 40s.
Okay, so tell me, like you went from the mental, if I saw someone drinking Gatorade, it would make me sick, to now you're 400 pounds and in a walker. Tell me what that did to this, because a lot of health wellness journeys, like we all take, it definitely starts here, and here's where it affects us most of the time, right? So tell me where you're at that point, at 400 pounds in a walker, and knowing where you were in your 20s.
It'll eat at you forever. Not that you want to. I was never begging like God to give me my old self back. I just needed a little shove. I'm like, I need this door open and I can do it. In my 40s, I'm like, I was expecting to do it. In my 40s, all through my 30s, I'm like, I'm going to do it in my 40s. And I told my wife, I'll pull it off in my 40s, I promise. And then I turned 40. I'm in a walker, and I started a drum company. And politics back then, it was all heating up, and it was just impossible. I just couldn't even do it. It just wasn't. I wasn't ready.
So you said that in their 50s, your mind was in the right place. What made your mind in the right place to kind of make that decision that you're going to start turning things around?
Last summer, I was in Nashville, walking around Nashville. I was doing a trade show, and I just felt like I had already lost about 70, 80 pounds. Maybe closer to 90 or 100. I don't remember. Actually, I don't weigh myself anymore. But I was walking around Nashville. I was walking around Nashville going, you know what? I lost enough weight. I actually feel like a normal person. I honestly said that to myself and my family. I felt like an absolute normal person. And 1 year later, I put myself in the category with bodybuilders. That's how weird this is.
So normal for you would have been just being upright and walking with other people? Like 70 pounds to a lot of people, that's a lot of weight. For you, you got a long way to go. So 70 pounds was little in what you were trying to do, but for you to lose that kind of weight and feel like a normal human being. So I want people to listen to the psyche that Joy's talking about, because when you put on that kind of weight, and then a lot of people can't find their way back. But a lot of what he's saying has to be, it's a psyche thing. So 70 pounds gave you the ability to think that I feel like a normal person. That's huge. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. So I was still like over 300, but in my mind, that's striking distance to an average gym guru. Right. Does that make sense?
It does.
I'm 70 pounds away from this 25-year-old, 30-year-old man who lifts weights every day. I'm right there, and I'm 70 pounds heavier than him. But in my mind, I'm like, that's striking distance for me. So,
right, and for you, but the bodybuilding or the powerlifting, you are very big, and you're big now. So your vision of being that, you're right. You're not very far away from the striking distance for us normal people to do that. But 70 pounds for us, it's like massive. It's a huge thing. But for you, it was just enough to get you to feel like a normal human being. 70 pounds for us could change your life. And for you, it was enough to give you that step to say, I feel normal now. I can do that. So it's people have to listen to the psyche that goes on in your mind, which is almost 90% of learning how to turn your lifestyle around, right?
Yeah, it is all upstairs to this day. Like right now, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking I'm supposed to be doing stadiums right outside my front door. That's how. That's
so what does stadiums do? I know what that means, but what does stadiums do?
I just grab 10-pound weights and I walk up and down the flights of the stairs, 3 flights of stairs. And I do 5 flights with the weights and then 10 to 15 without them. It takes about 30 minutes, but it is absolutely incredible for building up your legs and, strengthening your ass, getting rid of body fat. And if you could do it in the heat, you sweat. And you can, when you sweat, you can, and if you're doing stadiums in the heat and you sweat, you're actually attacking body fat from both sides.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's been really hot, I think, all over the world. So that's huge.
You can. All right, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
You can. You don't have to sweat when you work out, but you're going to attack. Let me see if I can show this here. But you can attack body fat from if you don't sweat from one side, but when you sweat, you can attack it from both sides like that. Does that make sense?
You guys hear that? Yeah, that's super important.
That's crucial.
If you're not sweating, that's okay. But if you can sweat and also do that, you're just doubling your chances of burning off that fat, right?
The water was when the salt goes into the muscle, it takes the water and goes to body fat 10 times its body weight. So I definitely recommend sweating. You can even go sit in a sauna. You don't have to sweat when you work out, but if you can get a good sweat going, it's like squishing an Oreo cookie like that. That's exactly how that works.
That is so cool. That's so cool. Now, there's a lot of myths around weight loss, and you and I talked a lot about, and you had some amazing insight. So you have some amazing insight on your journey, and you learned a lot of things. So when we were talking, I'm going like, oh my gosh, you got to tell people about that. So in today's weight loss journey, a lot of people think of it, I always say, as a temporary fix. They go here to this arena because they have this event or this thing going on, and then they leave that arena and they go back to their old ways, and then they revisit that arena when events come up. So what they do is they choose those lifestyles and they only look at the scale to measure the results. You had a very amazing insight as to why they shouldn't look at the scale and what that information is actually giving them. Because a lot of people say, well, the scale doesn't give you the right information. I know that, you know that, but tell everybody watching here what information that scale is giving you and why it's not the right information.
Oh, I know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
All right, let's see how to explain it. All right. Let's just explain it from a absolutely normal woman, just a normal businesswoman that looks in the mirror, and she may not be fat or whatever, and just is irritated by her belly or something. She eats, let's say she eats a value meal, and she eats the whole thing. She's going to store the whole value meal, and all the salt in it is going to go in her muscle and dry up 10 times its body weight in the muscle and get carried to body fat. So there's one problem with that. The second problem is the after effect when she's going to feel guilty, and then she starves herself for thinking that, okay, well, I'll just starve myself and step on the scale and lose 5 pounds, and then boom, I'm back to square one. But that's not what happens. So when you step on the scale from starving yourself, you're actually going to eat the nutrients and water in the muscle, right? And then the scale is going to go down, and you're only going to eat the muscle and preserve the body fat.
That was it. That's profound. That is super profound. Did you listen to that? So the scale is giving you incorrect information. You're making your decisions based on the scale, and that is totally not right. You and I talked about body composition, but I talked about that scale because a lot of people make the mistake that, well, I've only lost 2 pounds, I lost 5 pounds. That 5 pounds you've lost on the scale has got nothing to do with your journey in weight loss. And you just nailed it on the head to say that you're making your decisions and poor decisions based on the numbers on that scale. So wouldn't you agree that we just get rid of the scale?
It doesn't, the one that you step on, it doesn't measure going to the gym. Because if you eat your food correctly and you know you're working out, I see it all the time in these groups. They're like, I'm gaining weight. I'm like going, if you're eating healthy and you're working out, the scale's going to go up. It's called athletics.
And what is that? Why is the scale going up? Explain why that is.
Because when you're eating right and you're working out, it's exactly what I'm doing. Look at my pictures.
Right.
I'm putting muscle on, and the cardio, I'm using my cardio to move the bigger muscle, and that means I preserve the muscle with my food, and I eat the body fat with the cardio. When you starve yourself.
Did you hear that? Say that again. One more time. Say that again. So you eat to give your muscle, to preserve your muscle, and then you do cardio to do what?
To eat the body fat. Okay, I slip into ketosis. Yeah, I only eat body fat. I do not eat my muscle. Now, when I eat my foods, I do not skip my meals, right? When I eat my foods, I keep the water going into the muscle. And then when I put on the new muscle, I do my bike ride and my walking. I walk 3 miles every day on top of an hour to 2 hours a bike ride every day, right? So that's why I'm losing weight, but you can't really see, but my muscles, I keep my muscles. So I only eat body fat. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense, because a lot of people forget that when you are doing the right thing, like you said, you're eating the right foods, you're doing the right thing, you're getting in front of all that, the scale is only going to go up because what you're doing is you're reducing the body fat, but you're building lean muscle. And I always say, lean muscle and body fat have the same weight. They have the same weight, except that if you're just not doing anything and you're losing weight, you're just losing the body fat, but you're not building the muscle. So you've got to balance that out. So don't be afraid of that balance. The scale is going to show you that you are balanced. So don't always pay attention to the scale, but it's your body composition, your measurements. Like you, I know, is what you're doing is you're totally watching your body composition grow, because that's the results you're looking for. Some of us are looking for the body composition to come back, get our curves back, get our just the natural curves back, and that's called body composition as well too, but in a different way, right?
If you just, let's say, want to lose, you just want to tone up.
Hey, Marcy.
All you got to do, this is important. If you're a woman and you just want to tone up, you go to only natural foods, right? You only eat natural foods. You increase your calories to where you're always eating comfortably and you're never hungry. You can eat as much as you want. Now,
when you're talking about natural foods and calories, there's some bad mojo up here about what calories are, because calories gotten a bad rap over the years. So when you're talking about natural foods, you're talking about whole foods, right? Things that are not prepackaged, explain a little bit about what the natural foods are and the calories that you're talking about, because I think calories come from good foods as well as bad foods, right?
Just your normal grocery foods and Publix and Winn-Dixie and, just your all your fruits, stuff you already know what to do. There's so much stuff on the internet, it tells you got to do this and do. No, Go to all natural foods so you don't restore. Like, instead of eating ice cream, have a bowl of fruit. There's your difference. You can't eat processed foods because you're going to store it.
Thank you. Processed foods are like, if you can't, like I always say that when the low fat, no fat diet is killing people out there, only because when you take a natural whole food and they remove the fat, the natural fat that your body actually needs, and they fill it with sugars and sodium and all that, then you're consuming that. Your body is only going to do what? It doesn't know what to do with it, so it stores it all as fat. It doesn't do anything else. It doesn't give you any nutrients, doesn't give you any energy, doesn't do anything like that. It just stores the fat. So don't do the low fat, no fat stuff. I always say just stay away from that. But whole foods, things you can see and feel and touch and smell, they're not, you have to open a box and unfreeze them. That's what we're talking about here.
Let's say if I had 2 or 3 slices of pizza with the cheese and the stuff on it, it would set me back probably 3 weeks. So I can't do it.
So it would fill you up and it would make you satisfied, but what is it going to do to your body composition?
It's going to add body fat.
Just pure body fat, right? Yeah.
Right. Well, you could build muscle with pizza because it does have the vitamins and nutrients in it. And as long as you drink your water with the food,
right,
you can actually work out with pizza, but it's so high in fat and salt that it actually defeats the purpose. You're gonna. If you're not really doing a good workout regime, you can have a slice of pizza every now and then. But if you're just not doing anything and eating a pizza, guess what? It's not going to do your body good, right? You can have. I would say you can have a few bites of pizza every day, just to keep your metabolic rate moving, because it does have the fat in it. Okay. It will help you move your metabolism going. It does. Good.
And as long as you're drinking your water.
You got to drink your water with your food. That's the only way to hydrate. If you're drinking your water, if you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated. Another way to know if you're dehydrated is your urine. If it's a hint of yellow to fluorescent gold, that's how you tell how hydrated you are. If it's pure white, you're hydrated. If it's got a little yellow in it, you're dehydrated. And if it's fluorescent gold, you're severely dehydrated. So if let's say you get stuck out in the heat, you could overheat and pass out. That's how that works.
Because you're not hydrated enough. Yeah, we did a 21-day water challenge where we ended up drinking half of our body weight in ounces every day. Some people had to drink a gallon, other people didn't. But it has continued with a lot of people that were in that group. But you're right. If your urine is clear, you know you're hydrated and you're good. So if it's not, guess what? You got to put some more water in your body. That's a simple indication that you need more water.
Drinking water alone isn't going to hydrate your body. You have to drink it with your carbohydrate.
There you go.
The water and the carb grabs the vitamins and nutrients are shredded, right, and digested with the water. You got to have water in there, and that's how you build muscle and strength, and that's how you lose weight, because you stabilize your metabolic rate. And then the moving of the body with the new muscle. Everybody is severely dehydrated with all this stuff going around about the cutting calories and calorie deficit and
sure.
You can't eat bananas, you can't eat watermelon. Some lady was saying you can't eat watermelon.
I know. What is watermelon? And 90% water. Get it in your body.
Yeah. And then one guru is saying we shouldn't even be doing cardio because you can gain weight doing cardio. I mean, this is just, it's madness. It really is.
So we know that the balance of everything, everything is so one-sided. Just do this and leave all that alone. Just do this and leave all that alone. And you go and do that. And I said in a live I did a couple of days ago on the treadmill to say that you can do that and you'll see changes and results. It's only because you're changing what you've already done. So the results aren't coming from what you're doing. It's going to result from what you're stopping doing, what you normally do. So anything will work, but you're one-sided on anything, you're going to come back to here and you're going to revisit that arena later to do that. And that's where it's not healthy, like the yo-yo and the back and the forth. It's called about balance. And you spent the last 2 years rebuilding that balance in your body.
I am focused. I got one more year of this hard work, and I'm telling you, next summer I'll be almost ripped. I'll be the only guy in history to go from obese to ripped in 3 years.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Now, I know that it takes a lot of food to fuel that body. Like, if you've seen the pictures, this guy's massive, but he's healthy massive. Give me a minute. Let me take a drink of water. So I want people to know what it is that you eat, and are there certain foods that you do eat during the day? Because we had a conversation about eating foods at night that actually can help your body while you're asleep. So tell us what you do eat during the day. And you consume a lot more food than we would because your body's much larger and you're feeding bigger muscles. But tell us what, in a day, what kind of food you do consume and why you eat certain foods during the day.
Okay. For breakfast, I'll have a big bowl of farina with, for my serving, probably 2 bananas, but we split it between me, my wife, and my 20-year-old. But
what's
we make
farina?
a big
Just
pot.
so people know, what is farina?
Oh, it's fine cream of wheat, like a grit type meal. It's yeah. So you can, and we put oatmeal in it, so it's just a porridge.
Right. Okay.
And we put the banana. It has water in it and milk, and it's actually an absolute must for building muscle, or for a normal person like you. Or it's a perfect meal to start. You gotta eat the breakfast. You got it. You gotta eat your food.
Thank you for saying that, because so many of us forget to eat breakfast. And what do you have some insight on what that does to your body if you miss breakfast?
All right, here, watch this. If you skip a meal, let me see. All right, here's your metabolic rate. If you skip a meal, you slow it down. Watch this. You slow it down like this, right? Then the body automatically triggers the brain, and you'll get a migraine, right? See, doctors can't tell you that because they don't know that. When you slow your metabolic rate down, it triggers the migraine. If you eat something wrong, when you get hungry, it'll trigger, like a Chinese food, it'll trigger another part, and that's how you get your severe migraines. So you eat healthy, you don't slow your metabolic rate down, and that's how that works.
So you're really just fueling your body to keep the metabolic rate at a certain level so you don't get those migraines, you don't feel all that.
That's exactly what I tell people right there. I only eat to keep my metabolic rates stabilized. I put the muscle on because of the quality of food, and the body fat goes on because of the quality of food. So if you want to build muscle without the body fat, you have to eat perfect. But you gotta keep the metabolic rate stable. The problem with the fitness gurus, they've never come from being chunky or fat. They're just 20-year-old kids that go into the gym, and then they're experts, and they tell you, well, you don't need to do cardio, because I never did. No, you got to keep.
I'm hearing so much about balance of diet and exercise and discipline to kind of do that. Our bodies are amazing machines. So we have to feed the machines just like we would a classic car or a motorcycle. I've used that scenario before, that you wouldn't never treat, or what we feed our dogs. What we feed our animals is way better than what we'd ever consider ourselves. So I always say that if you're not going to put it in your animal's bowl, then don't eat it. Simple as that, because you wouldn't give it to them, so why would you give it to yourself? Now, you explain what you have for breakfast. Tell us what you have for lunch and dinner, and let us talk about that evening thing that you talked about the other day, too.
Okay, and then remember, I drink coffee with the breakfast. So there I am getting my water, plus she puts the milk in it, so that is an absolute perfect meal. And then for in between gyms, I'll either have 2 or 3 bananas with some orange juice or water. And then when I get home for lunch, I'll have pasta with a small piece of meat with no sauce on it. I will eat it plain. I already know the sauce gets stored, so you can't do it. Okay. So I'm obsessed. So I'll have pasta, I'll have white rice, vegetables, almost like a dinner. Basically actually it is. It's leftovers from the night before, my dinner. Yeah. Instead of prep mealing, I might as well just say that. I just make a side dish for lunch from my dinner, and I just repeat, so I don't eat the same thing every day because that's too boring.
That is for sure. And what do you do at night for your dinner?
Okay, at night I'll have baked potatoes, sweet potatoes, with nothing on it. I just eat everything plain. No butter, no cheeses to get rid of all that stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Let me explain this. When you eat, you make a salad. You with all your nice fruits or a vegetable salad, whether it's a fruit salad, you put any kind of dressing on there. The body will take the vitamins and nutrients out and waste some of it. And then if it sees like a French dressing or you know what are those other ones? Italian dressing, stuff like that.
Catalina, yeah.
It'll store it as body fat. It'll pull it out like a vitamin and nutrient and go, well, we can't use this, and it gets stored.
That's super important because a lot of people, what they do is their mentality is, well, I'll just eat salads and I'll have my favorite dressing. Now, I learned that the hard way too, that your body all the salad dressings that are out there, if they're pre-packaged or pre-made, they're processed. They have so much sugar in there and so much other things in there, preservatives in there. I just use olive oil, balsamic vinegar. That's all I use now. That is the only oil that's in my house, and balsamic. So it's not, your body is going to use that as a nutrient because it doesn't have to recognize that and fight through it. It's a natural whole food. Like olives are a natural whole food, so is olive oil. So I learned that the hard way too, that those kind of sauces, yeah. And then when I heard you say it, I'm going like,
anything processed, the body won't, it'll just store it as body fat. And you know what? And that's why everybody in the gym stays the same. Nobody changes. They go year after year. And that's why I made it to the top of my gym, because everybody goes, that's impossible. And it's because I don't eat processed foods.
That's right.
That's why they say it's impossible.
You have to hear this, because I'm a big advocate of processed foods, only because I eat clean and healthy, because I don't ever want to repeat my experience with breast cancer. So I don't want to ever have to do that again. So whole foods and processed foods are super. I'm eating clean as well too, choosing the right things. I cook myself. I don't buy anything prepackaged. And that's what I do. So that is, so even a dressing or something like that that's processed, your body isn't going to recognize it, and it's going to store it. So you've got to do the right thing.
Exactly right. And then,
you know what? Do the right thing.
That's why on last year, I didn't eat one piece of candy on Halloween. I didn't cheat on Thanksgiving. I didn't cheat on Christmas. And this year will be my second year in a row. I don't cheat on my diet because of what you just said. Is if I eat a Snickers bar, it's gonna grab the energy from, like, let's say the peanuts, but the rest of it's getting stored.
Yeah.
And it'll put enough body fat on to set me back to about a week from one Snickers bar.
That's right. And if we have to understand that we all have our vices, and I don't like them being called cheat days either, because cheat days means that you're doing everything you shouldn't be doing and you want to go back to doing this. It's always that mindset that this is what I really want to do, but I'm only doing this because it's supposed to be that I want to cheat on that. I always say that approach every meal as a meal. Look at what's in front of you, and oh, you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Here we are. Okay. We're having to like
can you hear me?
Okay, so yeah, so I always say we all have our vices. Don't ever let the vice be the decision maker. If you're craving something, there's a reason for you craving it, because you haven't done your job during the day. But approach every meal like you would any other meal. Look at what you're eating and balance it as best as you can. But don't indulge in that. I've seen cheat days, like redonkulous cheat days, like a McDonald's and pizza and calzones and all kinds of stuff. And you're right. I mean, it must take a month before you get that out of it. But I always say that we all have our vices, and we all want to do the right thing. So don't deny yourself a meal. Just look at a meal as a different approach. So if you want to go out for dinner, go out for dinner, but make the right choices. Choose the sweet potato without the butter. Choose the steak. Choose the vegetables that are grilled versus, in a sauce. You can still make good decisions like that, right? When you go out there, you can still make the right decisions.
Yeah, I go to me and my wife. We go to Chinese food, and I actually am the only guy there that doesn't eat the Chinese food. I can go in there. I can go in there and get some meat. I get the fish, shrimp, oysters, the mussels. I eat that. Then I get the some sushi, and then I get a huge plates of. They got an incredible selection of fruits, and then what else do I eat there? The corn on the cob. So I actually leave there without eating Chinese food, and it's a healthy meal.
You see what I mean? Like, you could actually approach anywhere, so you don't have to deny yourself anything. Just get into the habit of creating that lifestyle where you're making the right decisions no matter what plate's in front of you. And we can all do that, because then we get away from all that. I want a cheat day, and then you're eating the cake and having the icing too, right? So.
Well, you can't. Here's the problem with you. You can't cheat, because a lot of these people in the gym are busting their asses, and then they go and eat the cake, and it sets them back again. You can't do it. You can't cheat.
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what makes you normal. You can't do it.
So you don't want to cheat. You just have to approach it in a different way. So don't call it cheat. Just you knowing that you're going to have those decisions in front of you. Just don't call it a cheat. Just call it an adjustment. Are you still there, Joe? You froze there. Yeah, so if we look at it as making an adjustment rather than, so when you're faced with that decision, make the decision that makes sense. You don't have to have it just because it's in front of you, right?
Oh, yeah. I do not eat candy. I don't eat candy and stuff like that. No pies. You could put it in front of me now. But here, the thing is that because of my past, I know it's coming next summer. So if I eat the pie now, it'll set me back another week or two. You know what I'm saying? You store the pie. Sure. You can't eat. Now, a normal person can eat the pie, but she or he, they're busting their ass in the gym. I say don't eat the pie. Don't eat it.
That's a really good advice. Now, you had some other things. We were talking about when people eat at night. So you and I were talking about how people look at weight loss and going like, I'm going to stop eating at 6. I'm not going to do anything like that. But you mentioned there are some foods that you can actually eat in the evening that actually help your body while you sleep. Can you tell us about that? Because I thought that was brilliant.
Oh, yeah. I was a power lifter, so I had to eat food. So part of that diet was I was eating 7,000 calories a day. So you have to eat at night. Now, I'm eating 4,000 calories a day, which, is nothing to what I used to eat. And I eat in my bed. I eat a meal in my bed. As long as it's natural foods, I eat chicken salad, loaded. I have pictures of it. Just, you can eat all your fruits, all your vegetables. You can have a small piece of chicken. Your body, especially if you're working out. If you're working out, your body shrinks or grows in your bed. So if it's going to grow, then why not feed it? Why not feed it? So
that's brilliant. So what do you suggest that people, if they want to eat in the evening, the things that they should be doing that's going to help their body at rest?
What the problem is the gurus are telling them they can't eat past 5 or 6 o'clock because they got to lose weight. I know
that's pretty standard.
And they're slowing their metabolic rate down. But if you're like my friend Denise, she's coming to Florida, and I told her eat all natural foods, and you can eat at night in bed as long as it like for instance, you can eat if you're binging, right? You can get rid of the binging illness, put it a meal in its place as long as it's all natural, and now you're not binging. Now you're increasing your calories so you're stronger the next day. But binging is an illness, and they're terrified. Yep. They don't know what to do. But if you go to eat a big chicken salad, eat a big chicken salad. With no dressing, of course.
Of course, it's got the protein in it and all that. So it is safe to, so just so you guys know, it is safe to eat after 6. Again, you got to make the right choices. Don't eat the cakes and the chocolates and the cookies and all that. Make the right choice so that it feeds your body, because like Joey says, every time you do that, what do? You slow down your metabolic rate. You don't want to be slowing down your metabolic rate when it sleeps, because your body is the busiest at night. When you're in rest, your body is working like crazy because you're at rest and it can do its job. So now it's repairing all the stuff you did to it during the day because you're not going to disturb it in any way, and it's doing all the job. But if you give it the right things at night to help it do that job, you're going to wake up the next morning feeling fantastic. But when we eat our pizza or a cake or whatever, when we go to bed, we feel like crap in the morning because we're slowing down the metabolic and we're putting our body to sleep and slowing it down to do. But it does the best work at night. It's the busiest at night. People don't realize that.
Absolutely. It is the base. When you're going to sleep, I always go to bed with my belly full. I mean, full. And I still lost 210 pounds in 25 months. And it blows people because everybody's so brainwashed. How is that even possible?
Yeah.
That's how you do it. You eat the foods. They're all natural foods. You increase your calories. You go from here to here, and then you start working out. You lose the body fat with the new muscle. I'm not saying a woman needs to gain 40 pounds of muscle, but what she's going to do is fill up her muscles with water and hydrate herself. And then when she does that, then she can start exercising and burn the body fat while maintaining her muscle.
So we've often heard about the balance in exercise and eating. We're all like, yeah, there's got to be another solution. It isn't. It is about eating the right things and having that activity to help your body. Your body needs help on both ends, and there is no magic thing out there that is going to help you do one or the other without one or the other. Your body is just designed to have that because you're going to feel better. So you're just giving your body naturally what it's supposed to have, but you're balancing it out. I just love that whole metabolic thing. Like every time you eat something bad, you slow down your metabolic rate. That is, I'm never going to forget that. I'm never going to forget that.
You get headaches and you become irregular. That's how you tell if your metabolic rate's slowing. Yeah, if you're slowing down your metabolic rate and then you go and eat a Big Mac value meal, that's how you get constipated. So get rid of the high-fat stuff, speed up your metabolic rate, and you probably can increase your calories another 1,000 to 1,500 easily and not gain weight, not gain body fat. Because you're going to change.
We often think that calories, the amount of calories you have that's not the case. You're always trying to explain to us that the amount of calories is fueling your body to do what it needs to do, and you have to find whatever that balance is. But you start cutting calories and start not eating properly and start skipping meals, your body starts responding in that starvation mode, and guess what? Everything slows down. Then you get the headaches, then you start feeling fatigued, and then all that. So then what you do, you have the cake and you have whatever. Then momentarily you feel better because you've got the fuel, but then what happens is you crash because your body's got nothing to do, but it's got something kind of substance to go like, oh my gosh, we got food. Oh my gosh, they're feeding us. And all it does is figure out what is in there to eat, and it's nothing good, and it gets rid of the rest, and now you got all the fat back. That's really all you've done by doing that, right?
Yeah, you preserve the body fat. You do. Yeah. It's really.
Now you told me that so you had written a book back in the 2000 called Cheetah and the Lion, and it was about the 21st century diet. So tell us a little bit about what that book was about, and tell us when the next book is going to come out, because you should be writing.
Well, that book actually got deleted. We can't find it. I did that 20 years ago.
I looked. I could only find the article that you wrote about it. That's all I could find.
Yeah. I had actual diagrams of how, like this, doing the metabolic diagram showing you when you slow your metabolic rate down, that it triggers migraines. That's why we get the migraines. That's why women get the migraines, and men, they slow their metabolic rate down, and then when they go and do eat, they eat the wrong foods, and that's how it gets bad.
That's right.
I mean, but I show it in a drawing. That's how bizarre that book was. But it got deleted. It was on.
Someone didn't like that idea, and that's okay. There's a bunch of gurus out there that don't like a lot of things, so I'm not surprised it would have gotten deleted. But you have such good insight on what the body needs, and you're doing it all naturally with whole foods and a good attitude and a good mindset. Denise was putting on here that we're so hard on ourselves. She'd written earlier that we're so hard on ourselves and about when we don't do the right thing. And again, we're talking about this, which is the psyche, and what you put in your mouth. Two of them are related, but if this gets out of whack, you're going to feed this wrong. So you've got to get right with this. And I always say that just approach every meal like it's the last meal you have. Like, what is that meal giving you that's going to feed you properly? Not feed your emotions, but feed your body. You have to separate your emotions from your food, because we tend to eat emotionally 90% of the time. Every time we make a decision about food, we're doing it from an emotional standpoint, because we haven't done a right job to begin with. We've woken up too late. We're running out the door. We're grabbing a Snickers bar because that's the only protein we think that we should eat. And now we're having a crash and burn in there, and we're feeling like crap because we're not having a good day. And it just continues from there. But it all starts in here. You have to plan ahead in order to make sure that this is right. So you feed this right so that the body stays healthy. Because when it's not healthy, all kinds of things happen. Like you get sick, very, very sick. And who wants to be there, right?
Yeah, trust me, I was 400 pounds. That you don't want to eat. No, don't cheat on your diet. Go to the gym, eat healthy. Yes. Go to the gym, start doing your cardio, and the more you do now, the easier it is going to be in your 70s and 80s.
You're right. Yeah, because now we're at 50 and we're still probably emotional, but we have to understand that our food and our emotions are two separate things, and we've got to find a way around that. But today it's all about, looking for the whole foods and the right foods and all of that. We can all do that. We can research it. We can do whatever we want. There's all kinds of organic versus whatever. Don't buy a box thing. Learn how to create. I have a cooking channel called Cooking Outside the Box to teach people that tell me your best boxed ingredient, and I will show you how to prepare it with natural food. And it's so much easier, so much simpler. People love to hear that. And it's super simple. So the processed food is only convenient, but it's not giving your body the nutrients it wants, and no wonder we suffer because of it. So don't buy the box stuff.
If you eat a can of raviolis, you're going to get ill.
Oh my gosh.
It's nasty.
Anything canned or anything, the only thing canned I eat is the beans when I make my bean salad. But I stay away from all of that. So I cook naturally. And I've just mastered, let me tell you, I've just mastered the chicken wing in the oven. Like, oh my gosh, I have mastered the chicken wing in the oven without, it's totally healthy, because I wanted to have a chicken wing that tasted like one in a deep fryer. And you can't get that, but I have mastered it. And I love it. So I'm going to put that on my next cooking channel, because people need to know that they can still choose to eat the right way in a healthy way, right? So there's nothing on it other than the chicken, and all the drippings go away, so it's a good way to do it. So I want to just thank you 100%, more than that, for taking the time to come on here and share your story with us. I can't wait to see your results. So anytime you have any results, I want you to go to my page, and I want you to post it there, because I want everybody who's watching to be able to do that. So there's been some questions coming in or comments coming in. Thanks, Denise. I appreciate everything there. So if you have any questions for Joey, we're going to have to leave now because my battery's down to like 5%. But if you have any questions for Joey, post them in the comments, and Joey will be going back to look for any response and responding to anything, as so was I. And this has been incredibly inspiring and incredibly educating for especially the people that I serve and everybody else out there that wants to know what the difference between what we're trying to do today versus what the gurus are trying to tell us, because that is a noisy world out there, right?
Remember, increase your calories, go to all natural foods. If you have to, don't step on the scale, because you're going to gain weight. And as long as you're working out, you're hydrating your muscles. That's all you're doing. And the scale's going to go up.
If you step in front of the mirror every time and look at the difference of your body shape, and if you're happy with what you're seeing, then continue that. Because you mentioned before, the first thing you started doing when you went to the gym is you started working out again, and you saw your chest grow, and it was familiar to you in a way that was. So when you said that's all. So you're looking at your body shape now, and you're happy with what you're seeing. I think we should all get in the habit of doing that. Look at our body shape in the mirror. And if you're not happy with it, continue until you start seeing those differences. But we got to combine food and exercise. I mean, it's just part of the natural way of going and making the right choices.
All right.
All right. Well, I thank you for coming on tonight, Joy. I really appreciate it. We're going to stay connected. So you are now one of my favorite people on the planet. And I look forward to doing that. So I appreciate you very much.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night, and we will talk soon. Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good night.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.